Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It's November 1st. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and this will wrap up our week. No chart lessons on Friday, so today I'll wrap it up. Next chart lesson will be on next Monday, but interesting day today. We started off in this range here, and you can tell we're just steadily up and above and below the EMA. And when it's like that, you can trade it both ways. And generally, you're looking for sales off the lows and I'm sorry, sells off the highs and buys off the lows. I got a little bit mixed up in here. We'll go over the trades. This is a fairly large range, so you're gonna have it working both ways. Another thing, um, we actually had a little bit of an uptrend. We worked up, then we kind of fell over a little bit here. Actually, you really could probably say there's just one trend up here, and then we had a break here, move to a new high. Then we had a correction and another move up. But there's one leg here, and when we started higher here with this higher low, I would have looked for a measured leg, and you can see that got us. That's where we pretty much found resistance across there. We tried to correct, and it went higher again. And it is a lot of we just got tighter and more sideways, but there is still an upward trend. Notice how we're making higher highs and higher lows, and then we're making lower highs and lower lows. And then from here on, we really kind of make higher highs and higher lows. There's a little bit of a correction here. So you could have played this both ways, but you were probably better off to play this sideways stuff. But this might have kept you, if you found these angled trends here, it would have kept you on the right side, so to speak. And there's actually another one working up right here. And if you see that, then you might have looked for another buy in here off this trend line. It's not a very good signal bar, so it didn't really matter. But you really should have kept making these shorter term trends as the day went up, just like so. I didn't want to, make the chart so cluttered that you couldn't see it, but just like that, you just work your trends back and forth, and the trend, and that'll help you see some of the trades that might be confusing otherwise. And like right in here, this could be real confusing, but if you saw these trends here, it really, and then same thing right here, you were still looking for longs here, and that would have helped you with these because that's the first break of this two-tiered channel. But then suddenly you realize we're working lower, and then you might have looked for shorts, and that might have helped you with the shorts in here as well. So anyway, let me back out. Not a lot of trades today. We'll work through this pretty quickly, and then we'll wrap up the day. You had to be a little patient here. The first trade was just after 7 o'clock that I saw. Notice you made this. You've got a trend working up here. You get a close outside. There's two legs up. There's a lower high here. Um, that bar is just so big and so crazy. I don't really think you want to fool with that bar. You get a failed second entry long here, but you got to go short right into that EMA, and that's never a good idea. Plus, you've got two legs down, so it could be a trap. But I would want I'd want to see it come below the EMA, like right here, and come back. If there'd been a bearish bar there, I'd have even liked that trade. But that bar is very neutral to almost bullish. And so you finally make a new low, and then we push through the EMA, first entry, then second entry. So there's a failed second entry short right there. Go long right there. Pushes up. It pulls back to and confirms this trend line, but you don't get a very good signal bar, and then you get a little inside bar there. Let me make this still a little bigger. You get another inside bar there. Notice that is a double bottom, so first entry, when it pushes up and pulls back and makes a failed second entry short and still closing above that trend line, I like going long. They're just looking for it to retest that high at the very least. That's where we go to. Now you had a close outside and two legs up, almost a repeat of this. Uh, as far as that little trend works, notice the high, then the lower, with the double top basically making that lower high. Look how far we are away from the EMA. Take that trade right there. And the guy pushes through, pulls back, gives you a failed second entry long, goes short right there. And then there's nothing down here I like because you're getting too far away from the EMA. No, no really good setups or anything. And then we bounce, and I don't really see a good way to enter that bounce. There is a big bullish bar here, but it's inside. I mean, you got 4 or 5 stacked up here going each way. We are a little bit away from the EMA, so but with that being an inside bar, and it didn't even get back to the previous high where this one opened and went down. I just probably skipped that trade. Again, no good way to get in the short. But notice what happens here. You got a new swing high here, and then you get a first entry long, second entry long, everything below the EMA, big bearish bar. Just go short there. And you're looking for it to retest these lows. And then now you got to close outside of this trend, new low, and we're bouncing. We're a good bit away from the EMA. That's a decent size bar. So you may go long there. Your stop has to go below. This one actually goes one tick lower, this bearish bar, so your stop would need to go below that. But I wouldn't have a problem going long right there. Generally, you want to wait on the higher low, and that's why I marked it green. But you don't get a higher low here, and you haven't got a lot of them. I mean, this is what they do. They reverse and take off lately. Then we run up here, we basically test the highs again, and you get that first entry long with a fairly bearish bar, go short that far away from the EMA, another nice move. And of course I drew this trend line, I don't have it quite right there. Off that first swing, it gets confirmed here. But you still got this one working down here, and you got to go long right into that, and you don't really have this one hasn't played out yet. So although you are still really looking for a retest of this high on this one, so it gets a little confusing in here. So generally you want to wait, and you're still below the EMA, so I would wait till your reversal pattern comes right there, nice bullish bar. Then you actually get another little attempt to go lower again, and it goes up, so another chance. So you could have gotten in either one of those, or you could have added on here if you were already in here. You still got plenty of room back to the range high, which you're still watching that range at that point. But it just pushes right on through, comes back and tests it and bounces. Not a good enough setup really to be thinking long. There's a higher low here though, and look how it is bouncing off that key entry point. Of course this one does too, but here's your second entry. I like that one. Moves higher, makes a new high, then it comes down and we get a break of that trend line. Move, test a high. Notice that's a double top. There's really a triple top. So you made a high, you tested it again. You got that big bearish bar. I like going short there. And it bounces. At this time, it's obvious we're going sideways now. So if you move this all the way to the far right in here, while this is working up, this is all still part of the uptrend at this point. But by here, it's pretty obvious that we're going sideways. So anyway, prices run on up. Even though you made a little bit of a new high too, that's still 2 legs back to confirm that trend line. And we're still moving up the trend line. There's another bullish bar right there, and really you could have treated that like a second entry, so that's another possibility there as well. I didn't mark it, but I probably should have. I didn't like the fact that we bounced off that trend line again and still didn't get as high as we did with this little 2-bar matching high, but it still would have been a good trade. Then we finally get a break. Then you get a higher low here. I like going long, see it retest that high. Again, it doesn't get there, and by this time it's pretty obvious we're just kind of going up and down. So we make a lower high here than this one, but notice that's the first break of this 2-tiered channel here, and it could play out. But at this point, I wouldn't have any problem saying don't worry about this retest, because now it's obvious. I mean, you can see how long we've been going sideways. You got plenty of price action to show you that, but you can still see these trend lines coming into play. That's the reason we couldn't get back up here to this side because we had a trend line working down through here. And if you draw it off those first two swings, it actually comes back and confirms it here, but I'd wait on a lower high, which comes here. You can go short, you write it down. That's too much sideways action there, even though you know we're probably going to bounce. Not a good enough signal bar either. And once again, the trend line up here holds. And there is a second entry short right here. Not a great signal bar by any stretch of the means. It would have worked. You could have got a scalp out of it, but I'd probably skip that. Then you make another attempt to go higher. That bar's too bullish, and um, you bounce once again. And again, you just shoot right outside of this, and you can see the midline here still working prices. But this is the first break of this downtrend. Notice the low, and you got a two-legged correction and a second leg up. There's a new low there, first entry, second entry. So it's a second entry short, two legs up, little central, little middle pattern here, two-legged middle pattern. Go short right there, another nice move. Bounces. There's actually a lower high. Notice how it makes that high. Lower high here, but look at that bar. You don't want to be messing with that bar. But that's like a new high. And you get a first entry, and you get a failed second entry long. And look at that big bearish bar. I like that one to go short, and hoping that we're going to run all the way back to the low. It doesn't happen, but you still get a nice short out of it. Then it bounces. And notice there's a higher low here. You're not quite back to the EMA, but there's not a lot of room in there. So I don't know if I'd take that trade or not. Plus, you probably could argue that you got a little bit of a trend line working down there, and so you got to be careful getting long into that trend line right there.